This is ESBR Boxing. Delighted to be joined by pro boxer and pundit Dan Morley. Dan, it's been great to speak to you. I've kind of seen, I was saying off camera, seen you fight in the past, but yeah, it's been a little while since we've seen you. First question is, how are things? What's going on with you at the moment?
Yeah, no, things are good. It's good to see you as well. Got the first punditry gig today, which is kind of an avenue I was pushing to go towards. But things are good. Things are good. I'm back training. You know what I mean? I haven't boxed since I boxed on the Wasserman show last May. I've just been building really outside of the boxing world. I've been running a couple of social media channels where I do videos on a lot of the fighters and trying to get into the punditry side of it as well. But yeah, it's all been going well. It's nice to have a little bit of time out the ring, although I have been keeping tabs on it and keeping myself fit.
Yeah, fantastic. What was it like doing punditry there? You had to speak for quite a long time. I know we were told kind of press conference was supposed to start at 1. I think it started more like 2. You had to cover quite a lot of airtime today. What was that like? Just kind of to keep on going.
Yeah, for my first time experience, it was pretty good. I think I started off. I did a little test and I buffered my lines, but at least I got that out of the way in the test. And yeah, it was good. I mean, I love boxing. Anyone that knows me or just follows an Instagram page or something like that know how passionate I am about it. To stand and talk to someone like Barry Jones or just Chris and Harlem, it's a dream. It's obviously a little bit new. You got cameras, you got to know where to stand, how to stand, where to put the mic, how to cut people off. But yeah, it was good, and I got quite a good bit of feedback. So yeah.
Yeah, great stuff. Moving on to Friday night, obviously at the press conference here in Brighton, Harlem Eubank against Timo Schwarzkopf. I think is how you say his name.
You've done a good job.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Thoughts on the fight? Step up for Harlem Eubank, but yeah, should be a really good one.
Yeah, step up for Harlem. I mean, look, Harlem's taken step ups his whole career. And we talk about the Eubank name. The show is called Bloodline, and Chris is here giving the extra, exposure and pushing Harlem in the right direction. But if you really look, Harlem, I think he turned pro in 2017. He's been a pro a long time, and he's taken a lot of hard fights under the radar. So this is another test, but having sparred him so many times and in the boxing booth gym and seeing his career, this is just another step up. And I feel like this could be a risky fight, but because he's taken so many hard fights before and come through with flying colours and he's versatile, I feel like this is another one, a good step at the right time, I think.
Brilliant. You mentioned there you kind of know him quite well. You used to train alongside him. What did you think of him back then in terms of the level he was going to reach?
Yeah, I mean, I first met him about 3 years ago, as I say, when we went to the boxing booth gym, my stable with Adam Martin and Mick Guilfoyle. And I mean, he's one I'd heard about. I'd seen his knockouts at York Hall. But having sparred him, one thing I found was the intensity, And I'd heard that he hadn't had a storied amateur career and he'd gone straight into the gym, and he had to learn the hard way in the gym, and it's ultimately proven in his style. Like we hear Chris Senior talking about the fire, like you can't get him off of you. So, and that mindset, being around top fighters like a Mick Conlon, for instance, who was a big inspiration. You can see that mindset keeping him off, even just running the hills. He's relentless, and I think that mindset is going to take him up. Similarly to Senior and even Junior, who's proven a lot of grit in his last fight coming back. I think he's going to go a long way.
Fantastic. Did want to ask you about kind of issue that's quite relevant at the moment. Eubank Senior seems to be quite keen that Harlem Eubank possibly face Benn next year. If we're being honest, we're expecting a Eubank Junior versus Benn announcement in the next few days. What do you think is going to happen, and what do you want to happen there?
I mean, personally, I'm not that fussed personally, but what do I think would about? I mean, logically, you would imagine that with the way that the powers that be have been promoting this and the public interest right now with how popular both fighters are, you would imagine you'll get Junior in against Benn. There's a lot going on with that fight. It goes without saying, everyone knows the story. So if we're going to get an announcement, I don't know what all of the details will be, but I would imagine we'll see that next. But Harlem if he's going to move up to 147, and trust me, I've done hundreds of rounds of him, and I'm a 147 pounder, which he's a 140 pounder, and I'm quite big for that weight. Yeah. He can push you around. He's strong, very physically strong. So going up to that weight, and he's got the skills too. So I think he could be a threat to the 147 pounders.
No, brilliant. Got a bit of a random one, Dan. I'm just asking you this question because I know you're really into your boxing.
Yeah.
we're set for potentially a really exciting start to 2024. We're expecting to see Fury versus Usyk finally, possibly Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn, but Serbia versus Smith as well. Out of those three fights, which one were you kind of are the most excited about?
I mean, it's the first one, the undisputed heavyweight title fight. I mean, it's an intriguing fight, especially after the weekend as well. The fight that's just happened with Ngannou and the big shot performance. I feel like lots of people will be favouring Usyk going into that one now. All the marbles, big heavyweight fights, and we haven't really seen that many big heavyweight fights in the last year or so. It's a very intriguing fight. As I've already just said, I think Usyk will probably go into that fight the favourite. After seeing Ngannou give him so many problems, Fury, especially from the southpaw stance, I think it's a very intriguing fight. But I do think, and I've always thought this with Fury, people go hot and cold on him. It's the whole Tyson Fury thing. Personally, I don't listen to what comes out of his mouth, but I really rate him, and I feel like when it really, really matters, he's always produced it. He won't say it, but I do feel like there was an element that he underestimated Francis Ngannou because no one thought he would do that well. So I think Usyk will really light the fire under him, and I would still favour Fury, but Usyk is brilliant, unbelievable, and maybe the size might be I'm just gonna go on and on. So yeah.
We'll see what happens. Hopefully we see that fight in February. Final question from me, Dan. When can we next expect to see you in the ring? I think you mentioned last May was when we last saw you. What's next for you?
Yeah, so I took a step away from boxing last May. I had that fight, and I had loads going on outside of the ring, and I wanted to push different things. But no, I will be back in the ring at some point when the timing's right. I'm not going to be wasting too much time. I've kind of got a plan that I'm following, with all of the socials and stuff. So I don't want to put time in it, but I will be back, hopefully within the next year, and then we can push on to some big and exciting things with more people following.
Lots going on. Dan Morley, thank you very much for your time. Great to catch up with you. Speak to you again soon.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, man. Cheers.
Cheers, Dan.
Oh, sorry. Cheers.
Thank you.